Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Erik Voss, and this is a breakdown of the teaser trailer for Moana 2. And it wasn't even supposed to be a film. It was gonna be a multi-episodic Disney Plus series. So what can I say except we'll see? Look, the animation looks pretty great, and there are some really fun details that I thought I would break down for you all in this trailer. So let's do it. Let's get started. The trailer opens with this conch shell washing ashore beside a small shell being occupied by a hermit crab. I'm personally reminded of the Pixar short Piper that preceded Finding Dory, but you'll have to forgive me. I tend to frame all animation through a Pixar lens because my wife worked on Inside Out 2. Really, we should compare this to that creepy first teaser for Frozen 2, which featured Elsa trying to escape a chilly shoreline, and what at the time came off as a very cold and morbid moment that had a very different context when we saw it in the movie. But what the beaches in Piper and Frozen 2 had going for them were foamy crashes of the surf, which gave the animators lots of textures to work with to heighten the photorealism, like the individual bubbles that the sandpiper bird could peck through. But what I appreciate about this beach is that the lapping waves are calmer, more at peace, a force of good, which reminds me of the way Enrico Casarosa and his team on Luca depicted water in that film. And yes, full disclosure, his team also included my wife because she started at Pixar as Enrico's assistant. And before you start calling me a Disney shill or someone from the deep state of the House of Mouse, my knowledge of Disney's long-term plans and operations is limited at best and derived mostly from Jenny Nicholson's Galactic Star Cruiser video. Anyway, the water on this sand is just so gentle, and I love the detail of the grains of sand as they dry out from the receding wave. I also love how the hermit crab knocks on the shell first to see if anyone else is living there, which is such a polite gesture because, you know, these are really just houses to them. And an often overlooked detail when it comes to animators when we on the internet gush over their photorealism are the intentional ways they make things non-photorealistic. For example, the eyes of the hermit crab are just a bit enlarged and, dare I say, Wall-E-esque to establish this creature as animated and a cartoon and to avoid us falling into that uncanny valley. And yes, avoiding the uncanny valley of a hermit crab. I know, but you know what? There was uncanny valley all over those freaking lions in the live action Lion King and in Joe Mufasa. Okay, so Moana's oar plunges into the sand and she takes the conch shell but replaces it with, I believe this is a shell shape called a screw shell or a turritella shell, but as a kid I always thought they were made of candy and I would hurt myself trying to eat them because I grew up a Florida kid and I was unsupervised. But the inside of this much better shell is turquoise colored, giving this upgrade a more authentic sea origin and a charm that this hermit crab might appreciate. Now, I have to point this out, but when Moana blows this shell, they use the same horn sound effect that you hear in the opening of the Survivor theme. And by the way, production head John just blew my mind by pointing out that the Survivor theme isn't even Polynesian or Maori or Tahitian or Pacific Islander in origin, but rather a Russian folk song. Yes, the music sampling by big media companies is odd. So would Disney intentionally reference the flagship TV series of their rivals at Viacom? No, I just think this is a common sound effect in studio libraries because it's also the horn you hear in the Avatar: The Last Airbender soundtrack. But I think it's intentionally not a classic conch shell because conchs normally aren't that high-pitched and clear. They're typically more open, lower, deeper, textured sounds. And I'm going into this so much because I think this might not even be just a classic natural run-of-the-mill conch shell, but rather some kind of magical, important artifact that Moana is going to be using throughout the film. Because what do conchs do? They are forces of unity, of bringing everyone together and focusing all eyes on me, right? And I think that's what Moana is trying to do in this story. She's trying to bring the different parts of her island nation together. Okay, on to the next clip. Okay, so Moana's doing that thing where she uses her hand, which she did in the first film, when she would use the stars to navigate. New Rockstars resident anthropologist Berg says it's a rudimentary sextant employed by the seafaring peoples of Polynesia, and judging by their vast diaspora, it's pretty darn effective. So we see how Moana is just a bit older now, and one thing I have to hand it to the Disney animation team on in recent titles is the movement, the texturing, and the simulation of the hair. I feel like they might have pulled the simulation of Moana's hair movement in this shot from some of the sims that they constructed for Encanto Encanto. But whereas those characters' hair would flow with the rhythm of their dancing, the life forces that move these follicles are the breeze and the waves. I'm just so impressed with how these animators can update the textures to correspond with what type of kinetic energy is empowering it. And I know Moana is squinting to look at the pattern of the stars here and the horizon and the angle of all of it, but I just have to point out that she is making the classic DreamWorks face. You know, that sheepish side smile with the raised eyebrow that we all accept animated characters making, but if we were to try to do this as humans, it would look real freaky. You know, like, aren't I relatable? And no one knows how far I'll go. There's this quick shot of Moana's community, Motunui, sending her off as they wade into the water, and when you compare her parents to their appearance in the 2016 Moana, they've definitely added some gray to her father's hair. It also looks like she has a little sister who wears the same clothes that little Moana used to wear, so she has to wear her big sister's hand-me-downs, which is just adorable. And I have to give some kudos to the crowds department for this shot, because if you look closely at the celebratory crowd, while virtually everyone is cheering and waving, from what I can tell, every gray-haired elder in this crowd is not waving. Some even have their hands on their hips. It seems like the old folks do not approve of Moana's mission, so there may be a kind of generational divide, like the village elders do not want to merge kingdoms. We want to thank Geology for sponsoring this video, but also to thank them for making sure we look camera ready all day, every day. Geology is a 29-time award-winning skin, hair, and body care company recognized in Men's Health, Oprah Daily, Hypebeast, Birdie, Esquire, and GQ. Geology's products use just a handful of powerful, proven ingredients that have been trusted by dermatologists for decades. If you don't know where to start, Geology can create a simple and effective skincare or hair care routine for you. All you gotta do is take a quick 30-second quiz. Geology can help you fight acne, reduce oiliness, prevent wrinkles, combat dark or puffy under eyes, have smoother, hydrated skin, and target signs of aging. Right now, if you use code NewRockstars100, Geology will give you 100% off their award-winning skincare trial set. You'll also get an additional bonus offer of up to 30% off one skin, hair, or body product when you add it to your trial. That's 100% off plus an additional 30% off. That's a lot of off. Just click the link in the description or go to geolog.ie/rockstars100 to get started. And during some kind of ceremony, a bolt of lightning strikes this thatched roof structure, and I love how in the wide shot, the torches are snuffed out. This lightning is purple, which is not the natural color of lightning. Yes, it kind of has this bright ultraviolet spectrum to it, but it's not this, Mace Windu lightsaber purple. These bolts even seem to strike multiple deliberate points inside, including whatever was on this table when it gets split, and whatever was directly in front of Moana, causing her to fly backward, which natural lighting would not do. It would just strike whatever the highest point was and cause a little explosion there. It would not break down through the roof and be like, all right, who am I gonna hit? So yes, this isn't just an act of God. There is some kind of like unnatural precision with this strike to where nature is trying to keep them from doing something. All right, let's move on. Okay, interesting moment with Moana pounding this drum, boom, boom, boom. This is the same cave that had the old ships that Grandma Tala brought her to in the 2016 film, but it seems like all the ships have been removed from this cove and it's just Moana's boat, and now the drum and torches are on this stone block that faces the water. Remember, in that scene, Moana banged the drum once, dunk, and then twice, dunk dunk. And then with 3 strikes, dunk dunk dunk. All the torches lit up so she could see the paintings on the sails. This time she's initially happy to hear the triple pound echo back through the cave, on the sail, on the rock walls, and then on this depiction of an ancient voyager. Based on the apparel this figure's wearing, they seem to be regal. But then Moana realizes it's just hey pecking this thing. And then I guess she throws the rooster, but we have to ask, what is Moana hoping to activate by drumming this time? Is she trying to bring the ships back? Also, is the thunking of Hei's beak actually the correct audio response that she is meant to hear? Like, should she really be listening to Hei more? I think Hei is the key to all this. I'm convinced. Next clip.
This is a call from the ancestors to sail to new skies and reconnect our people across the entire ocean.
Whoa! Whoa! So Moana joins a new ship with a new sail and 3 other newcomers on her crew. This is mixed with shots of Moana just on her boat, running her hand through the water, and dolphins leap alongside the boat, scaring the poor Pua, the potbelly pig, who remember nearly drowned the first time they went out of the water on the first film, and then sat out for the rest of it. I don't know what changed to bring this pig out here now, but I love that the animators clearly just used the gestures of a dog, cowering back with the ears folded back and the tail wagging nervously. Then a quick shot of Moana floating suspended before a massive whale with a beautiful pattern illuminated on its back. Behind this whale appears to be stars, and there's a glowing essence around the whale, so I feel like this might be a dream sequence or maybe some other kind of magical moment where Moana is floating in the sky with a whale constellation that has come to life, the way Maui's fish hook was a shape derived from the star constellations. The Hawaiian name for the great square Pegasus is Ka Lupe Akawelo, sorry if I mispronounced that, which includes the kite line as well as the Greek named Cetus, which is the whale. I don't know if there's a connection there, I just wanted to bring it up. Then Moana faces the raft city of the little Kakamora twerps. They bungee from whale rib bones, it looks like, to bang this massive drum. But the gnarliest shot is on the other side of this raft. Moana steers away from this gigantic sea monster. It has a mouth the height of a skyscraper, tentacles, all these little tendrils, and then over a dozen eyeballs. Actually, the tendrils kind of look like the close-up of a living sea scallop, but on the outside of this kaiju clam is vegetation, as if it were thought to be an island but was actually hiding in plain sight. I think Berg figured out that this is from Polynesian mythology. There's a Polynesian myth of Rata, which mentions Pahua tu Tahi. Again, sorry if I mispronounced it. It is a giant, horrible clam that looked like an island upon approach, but would snap shut around the hulls of boats. Let me know what you think this is in the comments below, but let's move on to the last part of this teaser.
Maui?
Boat snack! Oh! Boat snack upgrade? Bacon and eggs? Why didn't you bring the pig last time?
So Maui is back. He shapeshifts from a shark to a bird to his human form, and I love how much the rocks smirk. They worked into the shark's face, which is always like my favorite part of Maui shapeshifting in the first film. And yeah, our man is asking the right question. We all wondered why Moana left Pua on the shore for the first film, but when asked about this, Osnat Schurer, who worked in the first film, said that they originally intended Pua to join Moana on their journey, but that they changed plans to force Moana to go on a classic hero's journey where she had to leave all the comforts of home behind, including her best friend, the pig Pua. But there was a huge petition internally at Disney Animation to get this pig back in the film. It's pretty funny to me that Maui says bacon and eggs, despite the fact that Heihei is a rooster and is male and therefore does not lay eggs. But Maui is an idiot. Now, Lin-Manuel Miranda is not returning to do the music for this film, sadly, likely because it was going to be a Disney Plus series initially when Bob Chapek was running the studio and was still pushing streaming everything. My guess is that each episode of this series was going to introduce us to a new island community that Moana was trying to win over. Instead, doing the songs are Abigail Barlow and Emily Bear, the first female duo for Disney composers for a film who got their start as songwriters on TikTok doing Bridgerton-inspired songs and won a Grammy for their unofficial Bridgerton musical. Will the music be as good as Lin-Manuel's work for Moana or Encanto, or the Lopez's work for Frozen? But what can I say except we'll see? Hey, comment down below with your thoughts. Follow me at EA Voss. Subscribe to all 3 channels in the New Rockstars network for breakdowns and news coverage of everything you love. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.